Debo, you good on mic checks? Okay. Everybody good?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Every Dad Podcast. I am one of your three hosts, Ty Clark. I am joined today by Ryan Tucker.
You just jumped right
Blake
on in.
Reese, as always. How's everybody doing?
Skip the pleasantries and just get right to it.
I do have a question. So this is totally off topic. I was just thinking about this as I was driving over here. You know how the other day we had the conversation about like our grocery bill?
Yes.
And it's just drastically different between all of us.
Yeah.
Like how many Amazon packages do you guys get a week?
I promise we win.
Yeah, I won't fight that.
I'll start counting. I have no idea what it is, but it's more than you.
So
More than you.
So you get Amazon packages on a daily?
We have a budget. We have an Amazon budget.
I don't think we definitely don't have a budget for that.
Well, I mean, but like Amazon sells everything. So
yeah.
Like sometimes if we can't find it at the store, we have to get it on Amazon. So it's not really an Amazon budget. It's like that
doesn't really happen to us. I guess so much. Maybe that.
Oh.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not super involved in what does and doesn't come through the Amazon forest to us, but
I just
a lot.
Like several times a week
from the forest.
From the cloud. Several times a week I hear, I ordered this on Amazon, and I'm like, we got a new like rug cleaner.
It was free shipping though, so you saved.
True.
Well, yeah, but it just
I don't know about you guys. Ashley keeps a spotless home. Spotless home.
Yes.
Nothing outside of the house matters. So the boxes just are piled on the front door. We got 3 doors. Front door, left side of the home. We don't have a garage in this home we just bought, but just whatever day of the week it is determines what door the boxes are just piled up in front of. They're never broken down, so that's where I come into play.
I mean, I was just curious. I mean, I feel like the Amazon guys know us personally, you know? It's okay. It's okay. But again, I couldn't tell you how much money we have in the bank. So I mean, she just.
You don't know how much money's in your bank?
No clue.
That might be a different podcast.
I couldn't tell you how much money we make.
Nate Bargatze, this guy.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I know how much money I make.
I know how much money I don't have in my bank account.
Conversely, Ashley, if you asked her right now, would have no idea how much money is in our bank. Not that she doesn't have total access to it, just does not look.
I have access.
I don't even know if she'd be within 50%, 30-40% of what we...
So you pay the bills. You pay all the bills.
Yes.
See, I don't do that.
Well, I mean, again, stay-at-home mom.
True. Yeah, well, yeah, she started doing that like when I guess she's done it most of the time, but she stayed at home a lot. And so just recently, in the last 7-8 years, went back to work. So,
why is that with you? Like, is it just don't feel like you need to? You guys know you're good. That's just kind of the situation you're in. She takes care of. I honestly can't answer that question. I have no. I don't even think about it. You know, like we'll talk about like what we spend just to make sure, but. As far as an actual dollar amount, couldn't tell you. You could be pros to that. You don't get wrapped up in how much you have, or
because I have a lot.
We could talk about it.
Yeah, y'all should have your own. Because I'm in a different boat, so I take care of the finances, and I know exactly how many I have, and how many money I have.
How many monies?
Yeah, and then I would not share your sentiment of. It's a lot.
No, I was just kidding. Like that was exaggerating.
So much.
You know what I found though? Whatever I think is a lot in my head, once I get there, it doesn't feel like a lot again. And then I just change my standards, and it's never enough. Yep. And so I had a good conversation about this with Matt Wright. Actually, shout out to a previous guest.
Yeah,
we have a lot of the same sentiments. Like if I could just reach this amount in my bank account, I'll be this much more comfortable. And then you find yourself getting there, and it's like. That didn't give me any more comfort. Now I just have more worry about whatever avenues I could go spend it on or might be spending it on now.
I have a picture, and I really do. I sent this to Catherine the other day, and I said, next time I complain about what God's given us, I want you to show me this picture and I want you to remind me that I used to sit on the back of the couch and play in the kitchen. Like, I used to literally, the back of my couch, my feet would land in the little kitchen that we had in our seminary house. And no, it's like the equivalent of body dysmorphia for like bodybuilders.
Sure.
It's like that, just you're never satisfied. And, you know, then you look back on.
I just want to know how many Amazon packages you guys got.
Several.
Maybe we can.
Well, you got
I'm
more,
actually glad that you said that because
maybe we can.
I had somebody deliver a package to me. This is a part of a longer story that I won't share, but I had somebody deliver a package. They drove up in an Amazon truck. They got out with their Amazon vest, handed me the box, and while we were having to like deal with an issue that we had, I opened it because I knew what it was. I showed it to the guy. I said, dude, have you ever seen something like this? And this man, quote, no, dude, I didn't even know you could buy that. Where did you get that from?
you.
Well, buddy, I got it on Amazon.
Got it from you.
Like, you work at Amazon. Anyways.
I want to know what's in the box. What's in the box?
It was one of those, like, hand-eye coordination tests. We got it for one of our football events that we had here.
Yeah.
Where it, like, automatically drops at certain, like, times. And you check your hand-eye coordination.
How'd you go about selecting today's topic?
I was thinking about.
Did something happen in your life with your children that made you think, you know what? I don't have to be their best friend all the time. I am the dad. Was there something that led you to this?
No, it wasn't like that. It was looking at the topics that we've already done and trying to figure out things that, you know, were different enough that we haven't covered already. And I know that there's a ton of other topics, and it's interesting. It is interesting. I will say maybe it was like subliminal or whatever, but like. I usually find the topic from something that is currently going on in my life. But no, I just see it a lot. So just for clarification, the topic is why your kid doesn't need you to be their best friend. And so I do see that a lot. I see it at playgrounds. I see it in restaurants. I see it in other people, like friends' homes. It's something that I feel like is very widely accepted. And the reality of that is, like, I honestly feel like in large part when you get like the people that you're close enough to actually ask them, you know, hey, like tell me a little bit about that. Like it comes from this deep desire not to make the same mistake that like their super like rigid father made. And so they're like, I'm just going to like swing, you know, to the full other side and, you know,
and be a friend and neglect the whole parenting.
Yeah, and there's consequences to that. I mean, you know, for sure.
I'm going to say there's an element of fear there too. Like, you know, if you're trying to be the friend, then probably discipline and correction and authority is probably not high on the list, because there's maybe some fear of, well, if I discipline too hard, then whatever, or if, you know, if I'm too authoritative, they're not going to like me. So I think there's an element of fear in that. And the reason I say that is because, you know, I used to work with students, and I would get parents that I remember one specific group of, there was brothers and sisters, and the parents were very well off, prominent in the town. And, you know, the parents said, after a conversation of something that had happened, the parent goes, well, we try to give them any and everything that they want. And we allow them to really have a lot of freedom. And that caused so much, it caused a lot of bad decisions. But when she said, like, we've literally given them anything they want and we want them to be happy with us, I'm like, okay, like, here we go. And that allowed us to have a little bit different conversation. But I saw it a lot in student ministry, parents wanting to be their kid's best friend. Yeah. And I think it comes maybe from, there's a little aspect of fear of what your kid might think of you.
At the expense of the fear of losing respect.
Right.
Or, you know, setting themselves up to get into dangerous situations or make decisions that they have no business even making right now. So, yeah, if one fear is heightened over the other, then you can just misdirect where a healthy fear should come from, right? Like if you're protective of your kids and there are healthy fears to have in terms of I need to protect them or make sure that they're not exposed to this.
Yeah.
You know, to the extent that I can. When you first mentioned this topic to me, it made me immediately think of, you know, my dad's got all these, I think we've talked about this before too. Like he's got all these sayings I could just rattle off, and it's just like ad nauseum over and over. And anytime I was disagreeing with him or upset with him, he would always say, I care far more about the way you feel about me when you're 30 than you do right now. Which was pretty good context. Now looking back, it's like I got a really healthy respect for my dad, and it didn't get everything right, but now I understand where he was coming from. And it was why when he had to make a hard decision or discipline me or break news to me that I didn't want to hear, and it, you know, turned into whatever it did, I understand where his motivation was coming from, right? I want to make you into as good of a man as I possibly can, which in turn means I want you to have more respect and think, you know, highly of me when you're older, as opposed to necessarily right now. So,
yeah, I think one of my best friends, one of the wisest people that I've ever talked to, actually said something to me just the other day while we were on the way home from the hospitals. We go together on Thursdays, and he said, you know, when it comes to anything, there's always two sides and then the truth. And I think that, like, this is kind of a perfect example of that when you think about this, because I do think there are two sides. I think there's that fear. It's either the fear of, you know, having your kid not like me, or it's the fear, or having your kid not like you, or it's the fear of, you know, okay, I don't want my kid to turn out, you know, this certain way, and so I have to just, you know, constantly helicopter parent them, or I have to give them all these crazy rules or whatever it is. But I think, you know, when you look biblically at, okay, what are we starting with? What is the goal of, you know, having a child? And the reality is it's not, you know, yours. I mean, that's a very biblical principle. Like, I mean, you've been given a child by God to steward, and ultimately it's to teach them how to do exactly what that they were created to do, which is to go and to be confident in their identity, secure in their identity, and to go and make disciples, you know, of all nations, right? And so, like, keeping that in mind, your goal is to prepare them. And so there's that kind of middle ground. But I love what your dad said. I mean, I think that's spot on, where, you know, I see kind of like the biblical model for fatherhood. I mean, you think about that, you apply that same logic that you just were talking about, that I've heard so many different times as well. You know, I want to make sure my kid likes me, and I want to make sure we give our kid a lot of freedom, and we just really want, like, I've even heard this, like when I was a college student, or like even a high school student, you'd have the kids whose parents would like let them host the party, you know what I mean? And not like the party of like, oh, we're going to get together and play Parcheesi, right? Like, no, like literally their parents. It blew, even as a teenager, it blew my mind. I knew that there was something wrong with it. When
you loved it as a teenager, you're like, oh, they're the best parents ever. And now you're like, I would never be that.
I would be at the party seeing the dad, and I'm like, you are terrible. This is crazy that you're letting
thank you, but
your
you're crazy.
kid host these party. Yeah, thanks for coming, Mr. White. No, but like, no, it's just like, and their whole rationale was like, well, I would rather that happen in my roof, or like under my roof, or in the safety of my own.
They're holding the bowl to put the keys in as people are walking.
And I'm like, I'm sure. I mean, there's probably a number of motivations. There's probably plenty of parents that do that. That, you know, they're trying to live vicariously through their kid or whatever. They want to feel the popularity. Like, they want to be the cool parent, not just to their own kid, but all the other kids. Like, they're seen as the cool parent now.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't even, like, it's the same rationale though, but like, you wouldn't even do that in your flower bed. Like, you wouldn't even, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to let the flowers kind of do what they want, give them a little freedom. It's like, yeah, you're going to have terrible flowers and they're all going to be weeds. It's crazy. Like, it's this situation where it's like, no, you don't give something that you've been stewarded 100% complete. Like, I think we get it backwards. I think the desire is friendship. And so we give them what they want as a child. But then we wonder, as they become older, you know, it's like, okay, now we really have to tighten the reins because we're starting to see them make these negative decisions. Or you hear all this time where it's like, oh, like this one really frustrates me. And I know that my wisdom stops at 7 years old. Like, my son is 7. I know that I'm speaking from statistics, from seeing it in student ministry, not from experience. And you know, I think maybe you'd be able to speak to some of this stuff, but like, I see the, you know, the well, I did see it and I just went blank, so we'll come back to it. But no, I just think that it is gosh, it was going to be good. It really was. But no, I can't remember what that was now. So we'll
I would say fathers
back to it,
discipline,
yeah.
friends don't, right? If you want to be their friend, like I've never disciplined you, right? I've known you for a long time. Not one.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean I can't hold you accountable or call you out, but I'm not capable of disciplining you.
Yep.
Right. I don't have any authority over you. I can give you guidance or my thoughts, and you trust me, and I've earned your respect for various reasons. I think, but
You have.
I can't discipline you like a parent could. Like only your parent or some authoritative figure that is. It may not be your biological parent. You're raised by whoever that's earned the respect in your life, and so there's a big difference. Which I thought about this too. Like obviously, God the Father, he disciplines us, right, because he loves us. Jesus culture in some ways really likes to portray Jesus as this friend, this happy-go-lucky friend that he's there when you need him and makes you feel whatever. But I think that's a distinction that we need to make too. Like God is not opposed to disciplining you or putting you through something to straighten you up, right? You're going through some sort of trial because it ultimately might bring you closer to him, and that can be a form of discipline. So so I think there's a good parallel to draw there between parents. There are appropriate times to discipline, just like God will find appropriate times to discipline us as his children. So, and I think there's good parallels to that. But
when I think sometimes too, like we don't want to tell our kid no, like, and it kind of goes back to the fear conversation I was thinking of. But telling your kid no on something, even though they could possibly do it, but telling them no because they don't need to either experience that, or they need to understand, they have to understand some sort of moral value by telling them no. It's hard to tell your kid no when you want to either let them have this thing, or we'll zoom into maybe buying something, right? Like say your kid gets a couple of bucks and you're trying to teach them to save, and then all of a sudden they want to buy this thing that takes their whole money, and you're like, no, you don't need to buy that now, even though they can.
Sure.
But you're still trying to instill that principle of saving, right? Like, and now that's a small example of something, but telling your kid no, I think hinders some of that discipline, hinders some of that, it kind of halts the friendship because you're telling somebody no. We don't like to hear no. So
my wisdom only goes to 2 years old. I feel like I'm in the no stage.
Yeah.
I find myself like, how many times have I told this little girl no today? Like, it's all I'm saying is no. And I'm like, okay, let me check myself. Like, is there a better way I can handle this where she's not, because I want her to be encouraged to go explore and do things.
Yeah. Well, I'm
always hearing no, so I got to be creative. I'm like, is there rather than just say no to everything, can I find ways to redirect her or?
So I'm way out of that infant toddler stage. So like a lot of my experience here is going to be over the last several years because I've forgotten what it's like to be a dad of a toddler. But I resonate with that. Like there's different spaces in life.
Yeah, so not to leave the last thought, I have been thinking about it and I got it back. So
when you're done, I'm going to try and remember my last thought that I have on this no thing.
Sorry, my bad.
No, the cliffhanger was just, I hear so often in student ministry, like, okay, if I tell my kid no, then, I don't want them like to resent me and like, oh wait, like they're going to love you till you're like when you're a kid, but just wait until they become a teenager and then they're not going to want anything to do with you. Right? I hear that so much from parents. And every time I hear that, I'm like,
yep.
It just feels like that's not how it was designed to be.
Yeah.
Like it feels like maybe the formative years was designed for you to build that structure and that closeness, for you to be present, not just physically, but emotionally, not for you to just go to their games, but like to actually like ask them how their day was and to like push into the things that are going on in their life and create that connection. So that you're their person, not their best friend, but so that you're their person when they get older and they know that you're there. And it kind of goes back to, so not a knock on you. I do it all the time, but like in a million little ways, no, right? And then they start to get older and they realize, man, okay, like this person, like they've kind of, they have been there for me maybe, but like there's been a lot of no. And so it's just, and again, no is good. Like I think as a kid, like you're supposed to have that structure, and we try and tighten the reins when they become a teenager, and like you said, it's too late.
Yeah.
So that's what they need in the beginning. They need that structure. They need the consistency. They need not the emotional, like the walking on eggshells because you only say no to a certain thing when you get upset, but you're walking, by a consistent set of rules that they're able to understand.
You've established a set of standards, hopefully from an early age.
Yep.
And over time, that child turns into a young man or young woman. To an adult, and they just gradually understand why those guardrails are in place. Right
100%.
now you see the fruit of that over time.
Yep. And there's a book. I'll have to find it, and we can drop it into the notes. But Catherine does a really good job. She's read this, and she's always looking for the yes. So she'll reframe the no into. And she's like got me doing it, and I'm not great at it. But like like a kid, like throwing a ball in the house, like by a mirror, like obviously you're not able to do that, or throw some. So what can you do?
Hey,
right?
do you want to go outside?
And it's like, hey,
throw that.
Literally, it's like, hey, yeah, well,
Does she do
That's
that?
what I'm.
That's
Yes, my instinct is no, and shut it down. Where it's like, okay, that whatever energy she's showing right now, if she's climbing on a couch, why don't I take her outside to go climb on something?
And
but instead, I have found myself shutting her down. And I'm like, that's not going to be the healthiest thing. Like, she's just a kid. She's exploring. Let me find a way to redirect
the same thing. Like that, so like, what is it? Because ultimately it's not about the ball. It's that energy.
It's not my fault she's confined to a 1,200 square foot house.
100%.
Last point on the no thing. I would imagine, I'm not the only one who's experienced this, but I think there's a natural conflict that happens with mom and dad on being the no person. Like no one, like if me and Ashley are in a room and someone needs to tell her no, like I don't always be the one to do it. Like you tell her no, you correct it, right? Because now you're competing for, well, I want her to look at me like the fun parent or what. Like that's a real thing. Mm-hmm. And I've had to, in some ways, like own the fact that, hey, my role, maybe even more so, like Ashley's with her on a daily basis for 90% of her day, right? So Ashley's gonna have to learn to say no and handle these situations. But when we're together, like it shouldn't be a competition of who's necessarily disciplining all the time, right? I recognize my role as a father is I have more influence from time to time being able to discipline. Like I think that's my God-ordained role in my family is I expect that I'll have more success getting my child to listen to me because whatever, just naturally as an authoritative figure, as the head of the household, all those sorts of things. But I think there's real conflict that people will find competing over not wanting to be that no person. That's just something you got to work out as a couple and just recognize you're all chasing the same goal. Like you're all part of the same team. You got to contribute. Sometimes you got to, you got to share that responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
And I like, you said the word structure and you said the word standard. Like, I think that's probably pretty key. I from what I've seen, even though they're not going to admit it, like they desire some sort of structure. Like my boys appreciate structure. They appreciate the standards, and we have standards in our house. I think kids
flourish when you give them structure.
Absolutely. Like we have standards in our house, and we have standards for the way that we live, but so going back to your point about, competing, there's got to be some sort of balance of freedom with structure, freedom with discipline, letting their voice or their opinion be heard, versus, just shutting them down on everything. Sometimes my boys have some really good ideas of ways that I haven't thought about stuff. And, they have a point of view that I haven't thought about because I am many years older than they are. So, but that structure, that standard's huge. Like, we don't want to lower standards, like, and we talk about that. Like, I had a conversation with my oldest about standards the other day. Like, we don't ever want you to lower standards on stuff. Like,
and don't expect them to uphold standards that you're setting for them if you don't model that yourself.
Absolutely. It
goes back to I'm going to send my kid to church, but I'm never going to go. I want it for you, but I'm not going to do it for myself. I'm not going to show you that.
That's
right? Or, hey, you shouldn't use that language, but you hear me use that language.
Well, and, getting to our main question, like, I think the standards and the structure with that balance of in the household leads to this balance between kid and parent of authority and being able to get along and have some respect and be friendly.
Be friends, yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like, I mean, it leads to that.
Yeah.
As you teach and develop, as you build that structure and have those standards in your house.
I would be interested I would be interested to see, and I don't know how you would even set this up, but the people that like are really, really enjoyable, that you just enjoy spending time with in your life, like I would be willing to say that most of them at least, like probably would say that their parents leaned more on the structure, we have rules side versus my parents just let us do whatever we want and I figured it out and now I'm not a brat as an adult, right? Like it almost feels like you choose when you're going to enjoy your kid, like either when they're young and it's simple and it's easy and you give them everything you want so that there's no conflict, or later on in life when you've actually taught them the skills and the character and the integrity necessary to be the kind of person that you enjoy. Not that's why you do it, but as a result, enjoy, that you're able to spend time with, not even just as a father and a son, but as a daughter, but just as a friend, as somebody that does, that you cherish, that you enjoy, that you spend time with. And
it's an oversimplified way of saying it, but if you're willing to make the hard decisions now, then it'll make things easier for you, generally speaking, on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel like I shouldn't have even said anything, but yeah, you're exactly right.
Can I give you an example of who I think of when I think of just a known public figure that everyone's pretty much going to recognize, who seemingly has done this really well? Like, what's the goal? Like, if we do this the right way, to your point, our kids are going to want to come back and spend time with us, right?
Change my name for the sake of the podcast on this one when you tell your story.
I'm really talking about Ryan Tucker, but I'm going to use the name Willie Robertson instead from Duck Dynasty, which you could kind of fit into that family. So that's it actually works pretty well. So Ryan Tucker, a.k.a. Willie Robertson, I saw an interview he did not that long ago, I don't think, where he goes, I've got a lot of things wrong. I didn't always, parent the way I wanted to or whatever. But he goes, the one thing I can say is all my kids want to be around me. And if you look at, this, like their new revival show, the Duck Dynasty Revival, whatever it's called, they literally have a family compound, and the majority of his children have chosen to come back and live in very close proximity to where he and his wife live. And right, so he gets to spend a ton of time with grandkids, which is kind of, this concept doesn't exist nearly as much as it would have, just 100 plus years ago when, family units stayed together and in close proximity for a long period of time. And so now he's surrounded by this wonderful family with a bunch of children. I don't even know how many children they have in this family. It'd take me a minute to count that in my head. And they're all really great, God-fearing people. They're in ministry in many ways. And it's like, that he's figured something out, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, ultimately, it's like, what can I do to, I can't force my kids to stay and by me and live life happens. They get married or they take a job or they go somewhere else. But it's like, if I create an environment, they respect me enough where they want to come back and live, near me. I mean, I can't think of a better goal to have than that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. They say, the four ways, kind of chapters, if you will, of like parenthood, fatherhood, would be caregiver. What's the second one? Caregiver, coach, counselor, and cheerleader. So caregiver, 0 to 5, you're taking care of their every needs. Obviously, these things are going to intertwine a little bit. Coach, you're teaching them the necessary skills. You're teaching them, from like 6 to 13-ish. You're teaching them, the foundations. Not that you're not continuing that. Then you move in from 13, 14 to 18. Really, you're kind of working in that counselor, like you're really helping them process information and you're really helping them to take, again, you're building on these things. And so that's why some of the stuff we've talked about, if you want to start, I mean, it's too late to be the caregiver and the coach, and teach them a lot of these valuable lessons at 13 and 14. But if you've built on this and you've started it when they were young, then they'll have a secure sense of identity, a secure sense of security. They'll trust you. You'll have taught them and been there. Like, you think about what it takes to teach people skills versus just throw them out a YouTube video or whatever. Like, no, I've been there developing and honing and practicing and, emotionally invested into this stuff. And now I'm going to take all these things and we're going to, 14 to 18, process all of these things as you're really learning how to do that. And then 18 for the rest of their life. And if both of you live long and healthy lives, then 2/3 of the time you spend with your kid will be as an adult. I'm pretty sure you were the first person to say that, and you got it from somebody else. But no, I just think those are very healthy ways to view kind of your role. Like, would you see that? Like, you have an adult kid. Like, would you say that you've seen that kind of play out in your parenting?
Yeah, I mean it. I was talking to somebody today. Actually, it's like so much changes in between that 16, 17 to 20. Like, because my oldest is 20 now, and so much has changed in cognitive thinking. So much has changed in how he views the world and people, and he's doing very well for a 20-year-old. Yeah, he's still living at home, so that helps a lot. But being able to see some of the things that we taught and trained, being able to see some of the things that we instilled as a young kid for values and morals, see that come out in real life is, it's super humbling. And, we had something with our youngest the other day where, one of the requirements to the thing that happened is he has to go to his teacher and apologize to his teacher. And he was like, we could take away his car, we could do all that stuff, and that was fine. But to go apologize to the teacher, he didn't want to do that.
That taking accountability thing is real scary.
Yeah, and so like we put some steps in place, and today was the day that it was supposed to happen. And the teacher was going to email us and go, he did or he didn't. And we got the email saying he didn't. And so Dad goes in the room and says, "Hey, bro, what's going on? Like, here's the steps that we had in place." And he had a valid reason. He had a valid thing. And so we extended it to tomorrow, and we'll have the conversation with you. But again, like seeing some of that stuff be played out. Like, he probably is not looking at me and going, "Man, my dad's my best friend right now," by telling me, but all those 4 stages, like you see it now. Yeah, you want to be that cheerleader for your kid, to teach and to train and to equip and just press them forward, loving Jesus and putting Jesus first and all of it. And
your job's not done yet. It's
not done yet, man. Like, there's still a lot to work through and learn. But somebody said it earlier, you teach them so early, and you continue to live that out. Not saying that Jen and I have done the best job at that, but we've tried to be consistent in that. And it does pay off, and we're seeing the fruit of that right now.
That's cool.
So
that's the goal. I love it.
Yeah, it's the goal. Anyway,
well, you want to leave it there?
I mean, I'm ready to leave it where it lies, dude. That was cool.
Yeah. It's okay to be authority. It's okay to be the disciplinarian. They don't have to be your best friend. Right?
Yep.
Is that where we're leaving?
I got more stories, but I'll save them for another day.
You started it, man. I'll let you close it out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, make sure that you like and subscribe. If anything stuck out to you through the episode, make sure you share it with somebody that it relates to. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you, Highland Park. Thank you, What's Up Media. Thank you, Debo and Associates. And
his name changes every time.
Who are the associates?
Who are the associates?
Who are the associates?
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know. They're large and in charge, and they don't want no feedback.
That's right.
See ya.
Every day.
On Every Dad Podcast.